All right, I'm going to take a moment to talk about some altered dominant chords for a second. And with the altered dominant chords, these are basically chords that have a flat 7 and a 3, and then you can actually play some particular triad in the right hand, or a major chord, or even a minor chord in the right hand to get the sound that you want. Usually when you hear altered dominant, what it means is that you're going to take the 9 and the 5, or the 9 or the 5, and you're going to alter it, either raise it a half step or lower it a half step. So either take the 9 of the scale and sharp it, or take the 9 of the scale and flat it. So if someone said play a C7 sharp 9, what you're going to have is a C, E, G, flat 7, which would be B flat, and then the 9, and they're going to sharp the 9. So that may not be the voicing that you want. So what I like to do is play the 3 and the flat 7 in the left hand. That would be the E and the B flat. And then in my right hand, I'm going to play that 9, which actually became an E flat or a D sharp. And I'm going to play an E flat chord. All right, it's almost that sound you hear in the tune, Pick Up the Pieces. So you'll hear a lot of those that sound. So, but again, what you're doing is taking the 9 or the 5, and these numbers are coming from the scale. That's why it's very important to know all of your major scales. So when you start calling out chords, and someone calls a chord with a 9 or a 13, you're understanding that these chords are just coming from the major scale. So again, they're usually stacked. The chords are usually built by stacking the odd numbers. So 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. And then some people would ask the question, well, for example, a 13 in the key of C is just an A. Why don't you call it just a 6? Well, the rule of thumb is that when you start hearing chords with 9s and 11s and 13s, that indicates that there's a 7 in the chord. So, for example, if I said C6, it would actually be a 1, a 3, a 5, and a 6. But once I put a 7 in there, it actually becomes a C major 13. Because now once I put a 7 in, I have to call those even numbers at their higher name. So if someone said a C2, you would have a C, E, G, that's a 1, 3, 5, and you can add a 2, which would be a D. Right? Or you can actually just play, basically a 2, a 3, and a 5. But once I add a 7 in there, that's a C major 9. Okay? So that's usually the rule of thumb. Once you put a 7 in the chord, you have to call the chord by the higher, those numbers, your 2s, your 4s, and your 6s by the higher name, which would be the number, which would be a 9 for the 2, an 11 for the 4, and a 13 for the 6. But back to the altered dominants, what I like to do in my left hand is play the 3rd in the flat 7, which is actually a tritone. So in the key of E, or key of C, the tritone would be an E and a B flat. So what I would like to do is just kind of practice getting my left hand used to playing those tritones. And now, cool thing about tritones is that you can literally play a full blues tune with just the tritone in the left hand. So usually a 12-bar blues goes from the 1, which would be C, to the 4, which would be F, and then back to the 1, and then it would end up going to the G, the 5, all right, and then back to the F, the 4, and then to the 1. So I can play on the C chord the 3 and the flat 7 of C, which is E and B flat, and then move to the F chord. The 3 and the flat 7 of F is actually A and E flat. So I can go E and B flat, go down chromatically to the E flat and A, and then when I want to get to the G chord, the 3 and the flat 7 of G is just the F and the B. So to the 4, back to the 1, to the 4, back to the 1, and so on. Okay, you can do the tritone. So that's why those tritones give you some really good tension in the left hand. Now, the first chord we'll introduce is the sharp 9, sharp 5. So starting with the C chord, all I have to do in order to get a sharp 9, sharp 5 voicing really cool is just play an A flat in my right hand. So if my bass is C, go down a major third from C and play A flat, and then play A flat over the third and flat 7 of B, third and flat 7 of C. And you hear that tension there? That's the sharp 9, a C7, sharp 9, sharp 5. And in that A flat chord, the E flat is the sharp 9, the A flat is the sharp 5, and then the C of the A flat chord is just the 3. And that usually resolves to an F minor. And usually when you see a C7, sharp 9, sharp 5, you're going to see it on the 3 of a scale. So therefore, a C7, sharp 9, sharp 5 can happen in the key of A flat. So 3, 6 would be C7, sharp 9, sharp 5, and the 6 would be F minor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So C7, sharp 9, sharp 5. All right. And now, as far as I'm going to just work with C's. In order to get a flat 9, flat 5, all I have to do is play a G flat chord over the third and the flat 7. All right. So a G flat is just a tritone down from the root, or actually a raised 4 up. So go to from C, go up a raised 4 to G flat, and you can still play that chord on the 3 of a scale. So that chord, the C7 flat 9 flat 5, would happen in A flat, and you can go to the same thing, do a A flat or a C7 flat 9 flat 5 to an F minor. Okay, and then we already talked about the sharp 9. All you have to do to get a sharp 9 voicing over the tritone in C is just go up a minor third and play that major triad. Alright? So you hear that? That's an E flat in my right hand, the 3 and the flat 7. Okay? Now the cool thing about this voicing, real popular song that I used to play a lot of is Change by Walter Hawkins. And you can get that C7 sharp 9 sharp 5 and resolve to the 4, which would be B major 7. My life, and now I'm free. Change. All right, so that's real popular, where you can put that on the raised 4. You can do it on the 1 of a bluesy tune. Now the next one is a 13 sharp 11. So if I wanted to play a C7 13 sharp 11, again, tritone in the left hand, play a D triad. All right, so you hear a lot of that in like jazz or in blues or things like that. So the cool thing about this sound, in that D chord, your D is the 9, the F sharp is the sharp 11, and the A is the 13. Alright, so that's the sharp 11. Next thing we'll go to is a C13 flat 9. In order to get a C13 flat 9, all you have to do is go a minor third down from the root. So a minor third down from C is A. So play an A triad over the same thing. The 3 and flat 7, play an A chord in your right hand, and those are usually really good chords on the 5, and then you can resolve that to the 1. So C is the 5. C is the 5 of F, so therefore I can resolve that to F major. And so therefore, if I wanted to play like give thanks with a grateful heart, give thanks to the Holy One, give thanks because He's given Jesus Christ, His Son. So again, I can use that 13 flat 9, which would be A in my right hand, resolve to the F. All right. Last one that we'll look at is the flat 5, sharp 9. Those are usually used on the 7s in a 7-3-6 turnaround. So a flat 9, flat 5, same thing. I can, if I want to, use the 3rd and flat 7 of C, then go up a minor 3rd and play it a minor chord. So a minor 3rd up from C is E flat. Play an E flat minor 3rd. I mean an E flat minor. You hear that tension? Now C is the 7 of D flat. So a 7-3-6 would be C, F, B flat. So okay. So you see how it works? You know, there's a chart that we put in the Musicians Fellowship where you can take a moment, just go through each one of those categories and realize that sharp 9, sharp 5s, you can play those on the 3 and flat 7. There are other places, but right now you can use them on the 3 and the 7. 3 and the 7 of any major scale. If you're playing up scales, you can use them on 3 and the 7. Flat 9, flat 5s, usually going to see those on the 3. Sharp 9s, you're going to see those as passing tones to the 4, or you'll see those as one chords in the blues, or you can see them as 5 chords. Dominant 13 sharp 11s, you can see those on the 1 in a bluesy song, or you can see those on the 5, or you can see that on the 5 is going to resolve to the 1. The basic next chord, the dominant 13 flat 9, you can use those also on the 5 and resolve that to the 1. And basically, if you put that on the 1, it's usually going to resolve to a 4 or something like that. So usually that's a good 5 chord. And then the flat 5 sharp 9 chord, you're going to use those typically on the 7s in a 7-3-6 turnaround. So I'm sure a lot of people have heard. So anyway, scoofing around. So you can you really get a chance to use those chords in a lot of places. I'm going to really continue to exhaust the tables and really get into how to use those accidentals a lot more, especially in like urban gospel, contemporary gospel, jazz, and things like that. So you'll hear 7-3-6 turnarounds in a lot of songs, especially in the jazz scene. One of my favorite jazz songs is Blue Bossa or Black Orpheus, or things like that, and you'll hear a lot of 7-3-6 turnarounds. You know, Blue Bossa, the changes go from the C minor to the F minor, and then 7-3-6, then 2-5-1 in D flat, and then turn around to 7-3-6. Hope this helps. Have a blessed day.